Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
Down the stretch here, for you guys to make the NCAA tournament, is it more important, in your opinion, for your defense to be great or for you guys to find more consistent offense from other players to complement Trace Jackson Davis?
Both got to be great. I mean, I don't think you can do one without the other in order for us to win. We've been solid defensively, but lately we just have not been able to make shots. And we just got to keep working at it, man. I mean, we got to keep shooting and practice and doing the things that hopefully they can get us over the hump. I mean, that's the name of the game. But you can't think that you're gonna go outscore Purdue or Ohio State. You're gonna have to defend those guys as well. So you got to have both parts.
Alex.
Hey, Coach, thanks for the time. I'm curious how Rob Fennessy's doing with his recovery, and also from a mental standpoint, where do you feel like this team's at? It's easy to get down on yourself after you lose 4 games, but do you feel like these guys are still kind of in the right state of mind to go out there and win a game?
Well, it's my job to try to keep them in the right frame of mind. I think we're okay. This thing has just kind of been hovering over our basketball program for some years now, and it was just like, I explained today to these guys, it was just like we couldn't win on the road. And once you broke that barrier and you won your first game on the road, you know what it felt like. And until we can break this ice, these guys, they don't know what it feels like to make the tournament, and really compete for a Big Ten title. They don't understand that yet. And, we got 5 games to go. I still think we control our own destiny. I mean, it's not like every game that we play, we haven't competed and been in every game. I mean, we've been there. We just haven't been able to close here of late. And, that's kind of disturbing. I kind of put the onus on myself as a coach because it's my job to get them over the hump. But then too, they still got to play too. So, it's kind of, back and forth with each other in terms of coach player, but somehow we got to break the ice, and we got a big game Monday at Ohio State. They lost today at home, and, they're going to be hungry based on, the game we had here. So we got to come ready to play.
Zion.
Any update on Rob?
Well, he won't be back, anytime soon, and we didn't have Christian today. He's out, there's a chance he might not play. So, hey, we're shorthanded, but hey, there are plenty of other guys over there that's wearing a uniform. Guys have just got to step up until those guys get back.
Zion.
Yeah, Coach, you've talked time and time again about the issues you've had with ball screen defense, and Ohio State runs a lot of ball screens, and they're pretty creative with their screens. So what do you think are the keys to guarding Ohio State when they get into that ball screen offense?
Guys, we haven't been hurt a whole lot in ball screens. I go back to the Michigan game where we hurt, and then the Michigan State game we didn't. But for the most part, we have defended ball screens, I think, fairly well. Our defense has held us in games, so I won't agree with you there. I thought when we played Ohio State, I thought we handled their pick and rolls pretty well. Now they've doing some things a little bit differently than the last time we played them, but we've had a good practice today and was able to go over some of the new things that they've done. But our ball screen, it comes down to getting into the ball, and X, when he does it right, he's been pretty good. When we've had Rob has been pretty good. So those mainly the only 2 guards that have been on the ball pretty much when most of these college teams are initiating their pick and roll. Now we had our problems with Wisconsin with Davis the other night, and it wasn't because of the pick. He just kept beating our coverage. He would reject, and that's a big thing in our defensive system when we put it in. You can't reject. You got to send it to the coverages. And 3 or 4 times he beat our coverage and was able to get, home free to the bucket and make plays. And that can happen. So, but again, Ohio State, I think we know them. But again, we're going to have to commit for 40 minutes, just like we did here at home, because it was a hell of a game here at home that we were able to get away with.
Tom?
Mike, you guys have only made 17 3-pointers in the last 4 games. And that 4.2 average would be worse in the country. I know we talked a few weeks back about more motion and more movement in that to kind of get more looks for Parker and Miller, who are the better percentage shooters on your team. Is that something that needs to be emphasized a little bit more going forward here?
Again, guys, make no mistake about it. Our strengths this year has been playing inside out, and I'm not going to deviate from that. We don't have a great pick and roll team. They run a bunch of pick and roll actions like most college teams do. So we got to play to our strengths. And I think when these guys get shots, which, some of these guys are getting some pretty good shots, they just got to feel good about making them and knock them down. That's kind of where I am with our ball club and our offense right now.
Okay, Zach, then we'll finish up with Dustin.
Mike, I guess following up on just sort of the health of the point guard position overall, if you don't have 2 of those guys Monday night, who are maybe some of the guys you look at to spell Xavier? Do you think about doing something different with Trey so you make sure that his minutes are staggered a little bit more? Do you look at a guy like Tamar and maybe ask him to do a little bit more?
Well, again, I think, Anthony comes into play tomorrow. Again, they don't press a lot. They play a 2-2-1, occasionally back to a 2-3 zone. It ain't like they're trapping a lot, things of that nature. So, we got guards that can, get the ball up the floor, but, initiating offense, getting us in our offense, based on our quick strikes when we do get them. They're not used to doing that, but hey, it's what it is. I can't worry about the fact that we don't have certain guys. We just got to mix and match and see what happens.
Last question, Dustin. Okay, Tyler.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well. You had said after the Wisconsin game that you felt like guys were maybe kind of looking over their shoulders of what had happened in the past, kind of going down the stretch of seasons. How do you kind of act as much as you can to help them mentally through that? Like you mentioned with the away games, that once you break the ice, you're kind of over that mental hurdle. But what is the process for you of trying to kind of initially get them through that?
Well, the only thing that's going to help Tyler is win. Again, every game we've been in, every ball game. I mean, you can't name, I look at the Michigan game, but there's just not very many games that you can name that we haven't competed, and again, when you got a group of guys that, that have never won, the mental thing starts to play a role. And, it's my job to kind of ease that. And, there's not a day that I don't go by in practice that I'm trying to be positive but I still got to coach. You still got to push guys to play at a high level. If it wasn't for our defense, I don't think a lot of these games we would even be in. That has kind of set the table in terms of where we are, but we just got to learn how to finish, and I got to help them in that category somehow.
Okay, Coach, thank you much. We'll see you guys in Columbus.